Hey guys, today I want to talk about Cassia, particularly the 4 common mistakes that I keep seeing on Cassia. To start off, the first mistake that I want to explain is particularly on Q positioning. What a lot of people do is when they're trying to do wave clear, what they'll try to do is they will try to just Q the first minion in the way, and a lot of times what that does is hits just about nothing. Now in this case, the positioning of the minions is a little weird, but aiming to where the Q always positions and hits multiple things is really, really important. Just hitting one minion and then having it go off to the side is not very useful. There's also positioning when you're hitting towers. If you go at an angle, you're only really going to deal damage to one tower. But if you go at the direct, completely perpendicular, you'll deal damage to both towers, all walls. And because Q is such a short cooldown, this allows you to, whenever you push ahead in the wave, to constantly be hitting both of the towers, all the walls, and she is one of the fastest ways of downing, or at least getting damage available on everything. So once again, the first mistake is purely just practicing your positioning on your Q. The next mistake is level 1, she has a talent that's picked a lot by the pro players, and I see the pro players always doing this correctly, but everyone else doing this incorrectly. So what this does is it increases your basic damage, and it makes it to where your basic attacks will bounce from one hero to the next, and it bounces to everyone in the area. Now, it bounces to nearby enemy heroes, and it says basic attacks against non-structured. Well, what I see a lot of people do is they try to activate this, and then they run up and try to attack a hero, and the heroes run away. But you can simply hit a minion, and it will bounce over to him, meaning that you can get the value without needing to actually hit the hero. You can simply hit a minion, and it will bounce over to the hero as well. I'm going to toggle cooldowns and show you. This way you don't need to get as close, and you can see that you can poke from a much larger range without needing to get as close to their frontliners. And it's a great way to also hit the backliners. It's a very, very powerful tool. The next talent I want to explain, or the next common mistake, is that I see people hold on to their ball for too long, and they try to wait for situations where there's a lot of enemies nearby. But the problem is when you do that, it takes it out of your control. What I mean by that is the enemies can then take the ball and they could take it away, and it only gets 2 bounces because they bounced it away, or it spreads the damage too thin. But there's actually a trick you can do by activating ball and then immediately fending. Usually what I do is I'll start off with like a Q and then a W, and then I'll ball and I'll fend. Do you see how much damage I'm doing to an Arthas right now? Like, it's a stupid amount of damage that I got purely because I used ball and then fend. So I'm going to refresh forwards and I'm going to show this again. And the reason why this is so powerful is because you're guaranteed to get 3 bounces. Probably more than that. Hold on. Bounce the enemies, bounce to you, bounce the enemies, bounce to you, bounce the enemies, bounce to you. So 4 bounces you're going to get off on the ball. And it's just a very, very powerful tool to get a lot of damage very quickly. So once again, you kind of do your regular combo, then you ball, and then you E. The E is going to allow you to stay in range so you get the extra bounces off, and they're going to be blinded for the ball damage as well as the E damage. I'm doing 60% of an Arthas' health. Now imagine if I jumped into a solo laner who was just kind of, I just wanted to gank a solo laner. That's how powerful that combo is, just activating that. And I see people always miss this up. They hold on to ball until there's 2 enemies, and the enemies just spread out, or they just out-heal the damage because it bounces on heroes you don't want to. This focuses all the damage onto a single person, as well as allows you to get all the rest of your abilities off. This alone, this combo alone, is how I gank lanes and take people out repeatedly as Cassia. The next common mistake, and this is probably the last one, there's something that I'll talk about afterwards, but the last mistake is comboing the slow from 13 and 16. So when you get to level 16, a lot of people think, I'll just go back again, this is the usual build that you'll see most of the pro players take. There is a talent here, and all of these talents are decent, right? But the fact is, this talent right here is really good for a few reasons. One, because it gives slow to the enemies, allows you to chase better, meaning you can keep your ball on people more, you can stutter step while chasing them, and it's very, very beneficial. But 2, at level 16 you get martial law, which allows you to do 3% of someone's health, assuming that they are slowed, stunned, or rooted. Per auto attack, meaning that you can trigger your own for at least 2 auto attacks by activating, let's say for instance, I did the 1, I did the 3, and I did auto attack, auto attack, auto attack. There's 3 crit damage that I did percent health to. Let's do it again. Q, auto attack, auto attack, auto attack. So I only got 2 that time. That was an extra 300 damage every time that I do a Q and 2 auto attacks to an Arthas. So I can trigger my own martial law. I don't need a team to do it. And I keep seeing people mess this up because they'll just waste their Q, and then they'll wait, and then they'll go in for an auto attack or something, and they're just wasting it. So utilizing this to get that extra percent health damage is very effective, seeing as the cooldown's only 4 seconds, and the slow lasts for 1.5 seconds. So you have about a 40% uptime on that bonus damage. It's very powerful. So people keep wasting that. So those are the 4 mistakes that I wanted to explain on Cassia. And there's a 5th mini mistake, and this is one that happens just about everywhere. And the thing is if you see when she's running, she has a shiny shield. But when she stops, the shield stops shining. Once again, shiny shield stops. And this is because of this passive avoidance. She gains 40 physical armor against hero basic attacks, reducing the damage by 40%. So when people are attacking you, it's best to be moving around, and oftentimes when people are directly attacking me, I usually run away. This makes it to where I'm safe. However, if you want to actively be doing damage, you need to start getting good at Stutter Stepping, which is the activity of moving and attacking and making sure that you're attacking in between your moves. This big part of the game in general is extremely important for Cassia, to be able to move and attack. So if someone's attacking you, you can constantly be moving and attacking. Yes. And the way that I'm doing it is in this particular hotkey. I have one set up just for NotParadox. I have a few for other characters, but in this particular one, I have it set up to where my left click is my auto attack, or my attack key. So normally it would be A, and in this case it is left click. So I can simply left click, right click, left click, right click, left click, right click, and it's very easy. However, if you ever see me against certain heroes, you'll see that I usually do the right click, back up, right click, back up, because it just allows me to make sure that I'm hitting the target I want to hit. But you can see that sometimes I make mistakes here and there because someone might move a little bit, or they might have a smaller hitbox. So being able to not just be good at the right click move one when you're in really intense fights, you need to hit a specific target, but also in intense fights where it doesn't matter who you hit, having the left click as your auto attack is also beneficial. So the 5th final mistake, the one that is kind of a mini mistake, is being able to attack move with Cassia, because if you can't attack move with Cassia, you're losing all of your avoidance value. So to kind of recap, the mistakes that were commonly made is the Q positioning to make sure that you can hit everything, because it will, if you're perpendicular to a tower, you can deal damage to everything. The next thing is using charge strikes on minions to get that bonus crit damage onto heroes, so that you don't need to get as close as everyone else, because people always say that Cassia is a more aggressive and shorter range hero, but if you're in lane, her range is just as long as some of the longer range ones if you add in the charge strikes. Then the next common mistake is when people forget to use ball in solo situations and they save it for group situations, as it's a lot of damage just activating ball, jumping in and getting on them, doing a lot of damage. And as you can see, you can really take people out. And the 4th last mistake is comboing your slow, which was a 40% uptime with your martial law, allowing you 40% of the time to be doing 3% of a hero's max health every single auto attack, and splashes. So those are the 4 major mistakes, plus the 5 mini mistake of practicing your auto attack moving. And that is the ones for Cassia. If you like this style of video, I do 4 mistakes videos for a variety of heroes of all different roles, as well as I have a variety of other videos. Feel free to check those out, and as always, I always appreciate subscribes. Thank you.